I opened my front door to find a bulldozer glaring at me, its steel teeth poised like a predator sizing up its prey. Standing in front of it was Evelyn Harper, the HOA president, her smile as sharp as a lawyer's letterhead. Before I could utter a word about my private property, my father's cabin, handcrafted, cherished, and very much mine, was being torn apart for what she called community enhancement. No notice, no consent, just pure HOA arrogance. By the time the dust settled, Evelyn handed me a $3,000 fine and told me to clean up the wreckage of my own home. Have you ever had your life upended before your morning coffee? Stick around, this story of betrayal, revenge, and justice will keep you hooked. My name's Daniel Foster, a 52-year-old carpenter who'd been living in my father's lakeside cabin for 3 years, ever since he passed, and left it to me. Built in 1960, the cabin was a masterpiece of cedar beams and hand-carved details, a testament to my father, Henry Foster's, craftsmanship. I'm a part-time woodworker, so the quiet lakefront life was perfect. No nosy neighbors, just the gentle ripple of water and the chirp of dawn birds. That fateful morning, I woke at 6:30, pulled on my faded flannel shirt, and started the coffee pot. The sunrise painted the lake in hues of amber and rose. I grabbed my old best dad mug and headed for the porch when a low, mechanical growl stopped me cold. Peering outside, I saw a massive bulldozer, its engine snarling, parked 50 feet from my cabin. Evelyn Harper stood nearby, clutching a clipboard like it was a scepter. Her tailored blazer and tight bun screamed self-appointed authority. "What's this?" I shouted, storming out barefoot. "That's my house." Evelyn turned, her smile as fake as a campaign promise. "Mr. Foster, I'm Evelyn Harper, president of the Pine Lake Homeowners Association. We're undertaking an urgent beautification project. Your structure violates our aesthetic standards and must be removed for a new lakefront trail." I blinked, coffee sloshing in my mug. "You can't just demolish my home. I own this land." Her eyes glinted with icy confidence. "You're mistaken. HOA rules allow removal of non-compliant structures after notification." She waved a single sheet of paper. "This is your notice. Demolition starts now." Before I could protest, the bulldozer roared, its claw ripping into my porch. Wood splintered, and the cabin groaned like a wounded animal. My cat, Shadow, darted from the wreckage, terrified. In minutes, my father's legacy, decades of memories, was reduced to rubble. Evelyn handed me a stack of papers. "Clean this up within 24 hours, and pay the $3,000 fine for violating standards. Welcome to community living, Mr. Foster." She strode off, leaving me in my shirt, clutching a broken mug. I spent the day in my truck, staring at the debris. The cabin wasn't just a house. It was my last tie to my father, who raised me after my mother died when I was 10. Now, it was gone, and I owed thousands to a woman drunk on power. I started asking neighbors about Evelyn. Most flinched at her name. "She's untouchable," said Mrs. Clara Thompson, a retiree. "Runs the HOA like her personal fiefdom." Another neighbor, Tom Grayson, muttered, "She forced the Millers to tear down their shed last year." "Too rustic," she said. Then I met Ruth Bennett, a sharp-witted former teacher who'd lived here for 30 years. Over coffee in her cozy kitchen, she laid it out. Evelyn moved in 2 years ago. Week 1, she finds someone for a blue mailbox. In month 3, she rewrote the bylaws. Now she's queen of Pine Lake. Ruth leaned forward. "She's turning this into a fancy resort community to boost her property value. Your cabin was in her way." Ruth's words lit a fire in me. Evelyn wasn't just a bureaucrat. She was erasing the neighborhood's soul. Her backstory: a bitter divorce, a lost mansion, and a need to control everything to rebuild her ego. I drove to Evelyn's house, a tidy ranch with a garage converted into her HOA headquarters. A tacky sign read, "Pine Lake Community Office." Inside, Evelyn sat at a folding table, surrounded by files. "Mr. Foster," she said, barely looking up, "your structure was non-compliant. It's all legal." For 30 minutes, I argued, but she had an answer for everything, delivered with smug condescension. The cabin was a blight, the demolition an emergency, the fines standard. She handed me more papers, $5,000 total, $3,000 for violations, $2,000 for cleanup. Pay within 48 hours, or we'll pursue legal action. Her tone dared me to fight. As I left, Ruth caught me. "Daniel, your father left something." He said if anyone messed with the cabin, I should show you. In her basement, she pulled out an oak box, its hinges green with age. Inside were yellowed documents, a 1960 land survey, deeds, and tax records. My jaw dropped. My father didn't just own the cabin's lot. He owned 300 feet of lakefront, including the beach, the boat launch, and most shockingly the land under Evelyn's precious clubhouse. Evelyn had demolished my home on my land, and her HOA empire was built on property I owned. The realization hit like a thunderbolt. I wasn't a victim. I was the landlord of Pine Lake's core. Ruth grinned. Your father was clever. He bought this land in 1960, subdivided it for the neighborhood, but kept the lakefront. Said it'd protect the family. I spent hours poring over the documents. The HOA had easements for community access, but only with my approval. Evelyn thought she controlled the lakefront. She was dead wrong. I marched to the clubhouse, where Evelyn was holding a board meeting. Through the window, I saw her gesturing like a dictator. I knocked. She opened the door, annoyed. This is private, Mr. Foster. I held up the survey. Nice clubhouse. Too bad it's on my land without permission. Let's talk rent. Her face froze. She snatched the papers, scanning them frantically. These could be fake, she stammered, but doubt crept into her voice. The board members led by a jittery man named Carl Weaver crowded around. Are these real? Carl asked. Filed with the county in 1960, I said, savoring Evelyn's clenched jaw. Evelyn called an emergency community meeting that evening in the clubhouse, the irony thick. She set up chairs, a flag, and a PowerPoint, painting me as a greedy outsider threatening their lake access. I stood up, survey in hand. My father owned this land. I inherited it. I own the shoreline and this building. Evelyn demolished my home on my property without permission. I just want what's mine. The room erupted. Some cheered, others booed, but everyone listened. Evelyn countered, warning I'd block the lake or demolish the clubhouse. Is this the neighbor we want? She demanded. But she overreached, claiming I'd neglected my land while the HOA maintained it. I seized the moment. I didn't know I owned it until you bulldozed my home, Evelyn. Now I do. I don't want to block the lake, I just want to rent your clubhouse. The meeting dissolved into chaos, residents arguing fiercely. Carl whispered to Evelyn about a plan B. I slept in my truck that night, guarding my land. At dawn, Ruth woke me. There's more. In her kitchen, she showed older documents. My father's development company had created Pine Lake in 1960. He owned all key amenities, the shoreline, the island, everything that made this place special. He'd meant to tell me, but died too soon. Ruth laid out his plans beside a modern map. Every road, every dock, was his vision. Evelyn hadn't just destroyed my cabin. She'd challenged the man who built her world. By noon, word of my ownership spread. Evelyn rallied a community defense meeting in the park, avoiding the clubhouse. She cited shaky legal theories, eminent domain. Community writes anything to discredit me. I stood up. I own this land, proven by county records. You can fight me in court, but it'll cost millions in years. Or we can settle, compensate me for my cabin, and pay rent for my land. I'm not here to ruin the lake, I just want respect. The crowd split, some urging negotiation, others backing Evelyn's fight. Her control was slipping. The next morning, my truck was vandalized, spray paint, scattered debris, a dead fish with a leave note. I photographed it all. Neighbors like Clara offered support, but tension grew. Evelyn filed a trespassing complaint, claiming I threatened residents. A deputy, Sarah Collins, checked my documents and shut me down. He owns this land, ma'am. You can't trespass on someone's property. Desperate, Evelyn hired a better lawyer, suing to void my deeds. Her affidavit claimed she'd done due diligence before the demolition, but that was her fatal mistake. She'd never filed permits or notified me, proving either perjury or illegal destruction. With Ruth's help, I built a case. She had photos and notes from the demolition. I sued Evelyn and the HOA for illegal destruction, due process violations, and abuse of power, filing a state complaint for misusing HOA funds. The neighborhood buzzed. Evelyn's allies backed off, fearing her crimes. Carl offered a secret deal, cash to leave. I refused. Evelyn started this. Let's finish it. The trial came 3 months later. In the old county courthouse, Evelyn's lawyer fumbled while I presented my case. Deeds, surveys, photos, and Evelyn's affidavit. Judge Margaret Lawson asked, "Ms. Harper, where's the demolition permit?" Evelyn admitted there was none. It was an emergency. The judge pressed. An emergency to destroy a home without notice? Evelyn snapped. That cabin was a blight. As HOA president, I had authority. Judge Lawson's ruling was brutal. Evelyn owed $100,000 for my cabin. The HOA was dissolved, and she faced criminal referral for property destruction. She had to apologize publicly. Her empire collapsed. Evelyn sold her house to pay the judgment and fled the state, dodging prosecution. I rebuilt my cabin, bigger, with a community dock and picnic area. Pine Lake thrived without the HOA, property values up, neighbors free. One morning, as I sipped coffee on my new porch, a lawyer called. Another community needed help against a rogue HOA. I smiled. I'm in. This fight wasn't just for might, it was for everyone crushed by bullies like Evelyn. What do you think? Was Evelyn's power trip a one-off? Or is this kind of injustice everywhere? Should we confront bullies head-on or find another way? Share your stories of unfairness or vengeance in the comments. Let's debate what justice means.